You might notice that on your workbench here is another Z crank in bits that you've pulled apart. But that's not yours, that's not mine. This is for a customer's, and it came out of an immaculate, because I've seen the bike, an immaculately restored Z, is it Z9 or Z10? I can't remember now, but it's very nice.
I'm not sure the exact.
I think it's a Z9, but it is immaculate. But sadly, it seems that all that glitters isn't gold, because it turned out it might look nice on the outside, but on the inside, the engine was a real mess. So your Les has had the job of restoring that, and it's taken it all apart. That's the crank for it, which is quite badly worn, isn't it? Oh, it's not badly worn, but it's seen some days. It's seen some miles.
Whoever built it last time.
So it's been oh yes.
They've smacked hell out of. I don't know.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
They've smacked hell out of the webs.
Yeah, you can see there. It's absolutely bashed.
With a Cayman club.
Yes.
With iron
bars and guns
bits nailed to it. Yes. I don't know.
It's had a hard life, hasn't it? Somebody's treated it quite badly. So you've taken it apart, checked all the bearings, checked all the.
There is. You can feel a tiny bit on some of the mains. The big ends are fine.
Yes.
They're very good, but the mains itself, a fraction, maybe a thou or two on some of them.
But it's usable.
The thing is, for what it's doing, it's perfect.
Yeah, nicely restored Z1s don't tend to get big miles on them.
No.
I think so. That'll be rebuilt now, cleaned up, rebuilt, and go back in that engine. Right, that's better. So you've now got a web in your hand, a crank web. And that's one. Now this crank here. Now, just to be clear, that's the crank that came out of the Z900.
Is it Z9?
A beautiful bike. I've seen it. No, I'm not sure. It's a beautifully restored bike. Looks absolutely immaculate.
Apart from the bits.
But all that glitters isn't gold, because the engine's an absolute, I won't say it's a dog, but it's not as good as it should be. So your Les has got the job of stripping it all down and rebuilding it good as new. And you got the job of rebuilding the crank. So what you've got in your hand there is one of the crank webs.
That's one of the existing webs, yeah.
Yeah, so just hold it still and I'll zoom in and we can see the damage that crank's got on it. Okay, I've zoomed in now, and hopefully if Jeff doesn't move it too much, we can see the damage on that crank web.
It's been smacked there. Is it still in zoom?
Yes, it is.
If I spin it, you can see it's been smacked there. Yeah. It's been hit there by something, and it's been hit there.
Now, when you say smacked, you do mean someone's actually hit it with a hammer?
With a ball-peined hammer, probably,
to try and get the thing...
True it up, yeah. Either that or they got angry with it and just decided to beat the shit out of it. I don't know.
Quite possibly. So you decided that that was not good enough to go back on the crank.
The taper there, that is absolutely shot at anyway.
Yeah, even from here I can see it's...
what I tried on the lathe this morning is I took a cut off it just to make sure it machined before I tried it on. That's why that's shiny.
Right, okay.
So it looked worse than that before I took a cut off.
Okay. Anyway, now hang on, I'll just have to zoom out now. Right, I've zoomed out again. So that web, you've replaced it with another web, to another crank that you've now machined.
Well, Les provided one of them.
A better one, yes.
He said, "Oh, I've got one of them."
Right.
And
there's a supply.
And it's on. Now. The only thing is, the one that's on could be later or whatever, or earlier. I'm not sure. It's got a Woodruff key.
Right, and that one doesn't have a Woodruff key. Yes.
Which it's been battered a bit over the years, but
it's better than that one.
It's you see, with that being, it looks at some point the rotor's spun on that.
Yes,
it's just completely
trashed it. Yeah.
Trashed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. So burn marks on it.
The one he brought me had hammer marks on it, but I've actually taken a 20 thou polish cut off the web.
Yes.
On each of them.
Yeah, it looks nice and shiny now, doesn't it? Yeah. So is that now almost ready to go?
Well, I've just popped it on just before you got here, and you can see now we've got the dial gauge on there.
Yeah.
And it's
moving.
About 10 thou, just over 10 thou out on the two. So what we need to do now
is get your special hammer out.
There's a bit of oil just dripping off it because it's...
yeah, we now get to see the magic hammer, which will hopefully get it straight.
So basically that's a piece of scrap.
Yes, that can go in the scrap bin.
Well,
it is.
I'll let Les decide that.
Yeah. Okay, so you go and get your magic hammer and your foam.
Let's slide them there.
Yeah, put my bit somewhere else.
So what we have to do now is we put that on there, and with our
special magic hammer,
big, is it a 2-pounder? Oh, 3-pounder.
Yeah.
Oh, is it 3? No, what?
That seems to be something like that. How long's that?
Eh?
Could do the bit of a refresh, that one.
Well, I'll have to get
so now you're going to take that off there, stick it on your...
So, but what we need to do is...
Mark it.
Is
Where is it?
Right, when the dial gauge goes clockwise, it goes high.
Right.
So that's, so it's going back to that way. So actually, that web wants knocking that way.
Okay.
So if I move the dial gauge that way,
yeah.
Lift that, which they're getting bloody heavy.
Oh, they are. Oh, we're getting old. 1 at 2.
Like that.
Yeah. Let me let me zoom in a bit. So I've got a bit closer.
Yeah.
So you got your magic hammer, you got your magic.
So basically,
foam.
what we want to do is try and hit it at somewhere around 90 degrees from the crank pin to there.
Right.
So I know it looks brutal.
Sometimes you have to be.
I'm just putting my rest in my hand on it because I don't want it jumping off. No, it'll do it quite easy. And if I go
right
like that,
yes.
If you move the camera,
put it back on the gauge, and we'll see what's
this
like
this could take you half an hour.
Okay,
to true up.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, that's touching. And if we spin that now,
yeah, not much different. I don't think.
No, it's not really.
Not done much. There.
It's not. You see, the thing is, now you have to hit it a bit harder.
Touch higher, yes.
This is where you get the feel.
A bit of a craftsmanship.
You'll never. I mean, if you can do that right first time, you're very lucky.
Yes. All right. So take it off and do it all again. So here's the second attempt. Here we go.
Well,
that's a bit heavier than last time, and let's see what that's done. That's good enough, Jeff. Come on.
Oh, it flicked then. See, sometimes you've only got to get a tiny.
Have you got a bit of muck on it?
Sometimes what's better is if you put some oil, on the.
Just clean it, yeah.
If it's dry, it can snag. Yes. When you stop.
Yeah.
But if you just put a bit of oil on.
Let's have a look. That's pretty damn good.
That.
From here, I can't even see it moving.
No, but let's just check something. Yeah, so the gauge, I just wobble it so it is touching.
Right, good, success.
So that
is done.
Is
happy days.
With that oil on there now, it's not dry.
It's not snagging.
Any sticking.
Yeah, any slight muck on it.
It doesn't throw that tiny little vibration through it.
Right,
yeah.
Excellent. Right, so we'll.
Oh, that's perfect. In fact, you know something, yeah.
Happy days.
I do not think you could get that any better than that.
Okay, well done.
I've got to do the other side now.
Oh well, I won't film that.
Well,
it's almost tea time, believe it or not. It's 5 to 3 and 3 o'clock is tea time.
So that one's done.
Right, good. Okay, so Jeff, any tips for somebody in the future who might be doing that? If one day they're going to try and straighten up a crank from a Kawasaki Z or any such crank?
When you say tips,
use a copper hammer. Don't use a ball peen hammer.
Absolutely, copper hammer.
Yes. You've got your stand there, of course. You've made a stand for the crank.
All it is 2 V-blocks.
Yes.
And obviously you can build the centre up. You press them on. Adjust these to just pick up off your 2.
Oh, okay. So your base.
So you dial them up.
Right, and then you can move it out.
Yeah, and then you press them on. Mm-hmm. True. Obviously, you've got your points to get
your datum points
out. Yeah. Yes. I have had my bar through it all, and it all fits perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got a straight lineage bar or ground bar that will go all the way through all of them to make sure.
Show you now.
Okay.
We should be able.
So we know that is a very, very straight bar.
Yeah, it's been machined. Yeah,
it's been machined.
So,
and you can get them all lined up. And this is how you know your conrods are straight.
You know everything's
aligned. There we go.
There you go.
So you know the conrods aren't bent or twisted.
They're all
in line.
Now, plus all your phasing and everything. It's got to be.
Excellent.
On.
Right, good.
To within
within that half a thou, whatever. Yeah.
It's not going to cause any problem. I mean, if that had gone in there and you couldn't spin that in there,
you know you've got a slight issue.
You've got some problems, yeah.
Okay, so that's a success.
So, well, I've just got to true that one up.
Okay, yeah, I won't film that. But it's the same process. It's the same process.
We just.
And I see here a rather nice Kawasaki. Is it a Z9?
No, Z1000.
Z1000, but it's got earlier.
It's been painted up Z9, Z1B colours, and it's got the 4 pipes which are hanging up.
Yes, over there somewhere.
But this is turned into a full engine rebuild.
Yeah, so this is the bike we mentioned actually in the last video where Jeff was truing up the crank.
He was.
And that crank is now in the engine.
Yes.
And the engine's now back in the frame.
put the engine in this morning.
Yeah, and you're now just
starting to
getting all the gear back in,
pieces back on, yeah.
Points and so on, whatever that is. Yeah, so yeah, I must say I saw that when you started it, and it looked absolutely immaculate. I mean, it's been really well restored.
The only downside with the bike, which my customer pointed out to me before I'd spotted it, was the rear rim is damaged.
Yeah.
Someone in the past has been a bit of a butcher with tyre levers, probably at the side of the road somewhere, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But the rim is, you can see here.
Oh, it's got some marks on it.
It's battered.
Yes. Can't really repair that, can you?
And I've said to my customer, in my garage next door, I have a rear Z1000 rear wheel, but it's a cast wheel.
Yeah, right. But it'll go in there.
But I've said, if we put all the, I think it'll go straight in this. Yes. If we put the cast wheel in, he can get that wheel re-rimmed.
Yes,
and still be able to ride the bike around.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fit new spokes myself. But,
oh yeah, and probably stainless spokes and everything. Yeah.
I mean, because everything else is really well done, and it's all well finished.
Yeah, it appears to
polished.
Be. Yeah.
Looks like whoever did it didn't bother taking the engine apart.
It was a mess.
Yeah,
I mean, there's the sump, which is still.
Yeah.
I've not cleaned the sump yet.
Yeah. Let's look at that. Turn round.
Yeah, there's the sump.
There.
And also there was a broken cam chain guide.
Oh dear.
There.
Yes. And so you know it's been apart before.
Yeah, the old one had snapped and dropped into the sump, and someone in the past had just fitted a new guide into the barrel, front of the barrel.
Right.
But not
looked at everything else.
Not took the sump off even.
Yeah.
Well,
obviously the engine's been apart before because that crank had some big hammer marks on it, didn't it?
The crank had been rebuilt, but very badly.
Yes.
Very badly indeed.
Yeah.
And Jeff has worked his magic and sorted that out.
Yeah, good. So this is Z1000, but it's got the smaller 26mm.
26mm carbs.
Yeah.
But I've had to do a best guess because I've got loads of information on all the different models, but because this is a mishmash of different models,
you go with what you can do.
And the carbs aren't particularly 1,000 carbs.
Right.
I've had to best guess the jetting. It's just hanging slightly there, so it's probably a little bit lean.
So you just started this up for the very first time, having rebuilt the engine about 5 minutes before I got here.
Yes.
So you're saying you think maybe the rectifier might be a bit tired because
it's slightly overcharging. When I revved it, it went to about 15.5 volts.
Yeah.
Really, it should be capping out about 14.5.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah, whatever.
I think if he's not taking it to 5-6 grand, it should be tooling around.
Yeah.
It'll be charging at 14.5.
Yeah. So this is the bike with the engine in it that you took apart, which was very well restored in theory, but in practice it had a few issues.
As you can see, the bike looks beautiful, but the engine was completely knackered.
The boot is only skin deep.
Yes, the engine was knackered.
Your Jeff had the crank out and he rebuilt it.
I took the crank to Jeff's to get him to do that left-hand end flywheel, which had been hammered.
Yes, that's right.
Literally.
And actually filmed him doing it. I filmed him getting it straight.
Luckily, I had an end flywheel off a Z1.
Yeah.
And I donated that to the cause.
Yeah.
And Jeff machined the right-hand flywheel, which was damaged, and managed to get all the marks out.
Yeah.
So the crank's all been stripped and repressed back together. But whoever had done it in the past hadn't pressed the crankshaft together properly, and there was gaps either side of the conrod, which allows oil to leach out.
Yes,
instead of
going
squirting up to
so you lose your oil pressure.
The pistons and that. So there was wear on the rings, the gudgeon pins. But now Jeff's done the crank. I mean, it's great.
Right, and now you've all rebuilt the engine.
So it just needs a little fettle.
Did you use the same? Did you use the same pistons and rings and the head? And was it all?
There's a tiny bit of wear in the bores, so I hung them.
Right.
Sorry, glaze busted them. New rings, because the rings were knackered.
Yeah.
And the ring end gaps were within tolerance.
So they could go back in again.
And the pistons were really tidy.
Yeah.
So that saved him a fortune having it rebored and new pistons.
And as he's fixed his problem with his rear rim, that's still got some damage.
That still needs to be addressed.
Right, okay.
I think the only thing he's still got at his house are the side panels.
Yes.
But whoever had built the bike has kicked the tailpiece up, and the plastic's slightly distorting here where it's touching the frame.
Yeah.
So that really needs dropping. There was an issue with the carburettor's foul. Sorry, the exhaust foul in the wheel spindle.
Let me see. just was wondering how this is held in place, because on my bike, obviously it's all non-standard, but I've got a ducktail like this. It's held in place here underneath the seat.
Well, if I lift the seat, I'll show you.
Yeah. But that's it. It seems to just to sort of wobble about. It doesn't have. Yes, you got these two bolts.
If you look here, see how these are twisted?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because they've lifted it that far. It's bent.
But what holds it down here? What stops it from moving around here?
It normally slots in.
Just slots in.
It slots in on the rubbers.
All right. Which I've not got.
Well, you can see there they bolted it.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I think
I don't have that on my bike, sadly, so I have to do something.
What they might have done is, I think it's bolted on rubbers, but I think they've pivoted it or spaced it up slightly. And there's a gap here for the toolkit and the yellow boot.
Yes. Yeah, because my bike doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have any of this.
But this looks a mess here, where they've twisted the plastic outwards.
Yeah.
They should be parallel, and obviously the gap.
Yeah, you can see it's doing this.
It's doing this because they've jacked it up. It's nothing to do with me, though.
No. Oh well, so you're getting to the point now where this can go back home.
Well, yeah.
A bit more tweaking yet, and it should be there.
Probably just richen up the pilot system so it doesn't hang. The throttle doesn't hang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to let the oil settle now. There's about 3.2 in it. I think it needs another ½ litre of oil. So I thought, run it, let it settle, and then top up. I've got some oil in the van.
Right. So have you set the timing yet? You've not, have you?
What's the timing?
No. I thought you'd do it when it's running.
I've not checked it.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But I don't have to.
Okay, all right.
Because I used my multimeter and did it statically.
Yeah.
And I twisted that and checked the full advance marks as well.
Because I'm here for a lesson. I'm here for a lesson.
When I checked it, before I did any adjustments, I checked it and it was spot on.
Yeah,
so
good.
my guess
was a good guess.
Was a good guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn about that because I've got to do mine with my Dannet S ignition. Anyway.
Yeah. So I can now top the oil up.
Yeah.
And,
what are you using? 10W40 fully semi?
I'm using a straight mineral oil.
Okay.
You don't use synthetic oils.
No. I was told you can use semi-synthetic 10W40.
It depends on the amount of synthetic.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to get synthetic fortified oil, which was about 10%, ish. And then 90% mineral oil. But now you can't get it. You can only get semi-synthetic, which is probably 50, might be 50.
Yeah, I was told that Rock Oil apparently makes some good stuff.
The additives, the anti-friction additives, stop the
Oh yeah. That's why. Yeah. I think I'll just start off with 10W40.
Straightforward mineral oil.
Yeah.
Run it for 500 or 600 more.
Well, it wear in. Yeah.
Let everything bed in. Drop the oil and then put your full synthetic in.
I think that's semi. I think I'll put semi in.
Yeah.
Anyway, lesson learned. Good. Do you want to start it on? Let's see if it starts on the kickstart. You said you did it.
I started it first time I ever started.
All right. Well, I wasn't here then.
2 minutes before you arrived.
I know. You see, you were too.
I was too keen.
You were too keen, lad. Too keen. Didn't wait for me. All right. We'll let the oil settle, and you can reset.
Let the oil settle. I want to top the oil up now.
And then we'll see if it starts on the old kickstart.
Switch that off a minute, and we'll get the oil done.
We'll do.
So that's done. I can.
Oil's topped up.
Oil's topped up again.
And let's see if we can start it on the old kickstart. I'm sure it will. Just to prove a point. Just so the world knows you've done it.
Well, this is how I started it originally, just before you turned up.
Okay. We'll get close up. There you go. So, all rebuilt.
Slightly before it comes down, so I'll have to.
Good stuff.
Play with those mixture settings. Right, let's get out these fumes and
have a cup of tea.
tea.
Great stuff. Here we are. You're going to show me the method, just the method for setting up the timing with this Dannet S ignition on the Z1. Because I've got the same issue with mine. I've got to do the same thing.
Well, obviously I did it with the tank off.
Yes.
And you use the pickup wires to the two coils.
Right.
So you find the pickup wire for 1 and 4, which is your black wire.
Yeah.
I put a probe one side the test meter into there, one side to earth, and then when you turn the engine over with the ignition on, it shows the voltage as it signals. So I turned it over until I saw my voltage reading, and checked the timing mark, and if it lines up, it's timed.
But what happens with the voltage? Does it drop to zero, or does it go?
It was actually showing about 1 point something volts, but as soon as it triggered, it went to 11 point something.
Right.
Battery
so as
voltage.
it hits it flips.
Yeah, as the magnet runs over, it triggers. You actually get a 12 volt surge.
Right.
So yeah, I used that.
Right.
And I did it statically, and then I set it to the full advance mark, and just turn that to full advance, and again it showed a voltage. So you're testing it without actually running it. You can test the full advance as well.
Well, you just turn it with your hand.
Yeah. If you turn that clockwise there, that's now full advance. You've opened the magnet. You've opened the bob weights.
Okay.
And the magnet
against the spring. It's got a spring on there.
Against the spring, yeah.
Okay.
So when it's running below 1500 RPM, it's static. It's running on your static timing mark. As soon as the revs rise and then bob weights, it rotates that.
Yeah.
And advances your timing.
Right. Okay.
So to test it, you get your advance marks, and then turn that.
Yeah.
And you can turn the back plate then until you're.
Right. So you got two marks.
Two ways of doing it. You can do it using your static marks.
Yeah.
And then check it on full advance.
Well, I can see you got two marks there. Yeah. So which one's which?
All right. Let me just show you.
I assume.
Get my torch out.
Yeah. The camera's not on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a 2.
Yeah.
3.
2 and 3. There's your F mark between them.
Yeah. That's full advance, is it?
Yeah. And no, that's your static mark.
Oh, okay.
Hang on.
F is static. Okay.
F is
not vertical.
Your full advance mark is to the right of the number 3.
Okay, I can't see it.
Which is just out of view there.
So we spin that slightly.
Yeah, we'd have to turn the engine backwards.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. I've got that. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah. It's straightforward. I mean, when you do yours, I'll come round and have a cup of tea
and laugh at me.
Watch you do it.
Okay.
It literally took me 5 minutes to check it.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, when I'd done it by eye and nipped up these screws, when I tested it this morning, it was spot on.
Yeah,
so I'd guessed right.
Yeah, good. Well, you've had a lot of practice, I've not. So we'll see. Right,
you usually get it in the ballpark by eye, 1 or 2 degrees, and then you just check it then with your meter.
Okie doke, and there you go. Lesson over.
So the last thing to do with this now is to just fine tune the carbs.
Yeah.
But I think those caps that were loose.
Yeah, those.
See that?
Yeah.
It's probably sucking air in, and that's why it's hanging. Yeah. So we'll put 4 new caps on.
Yeah.
See how we go.
Okie doke.
A common thing they used to do back in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
They'd link 1 and 4, and they'd link 2 and 3.
Right.
With a piece of tube.
To balance it out.
Yeah. So the vacuum, it balanced it out. Yeah. It equalised the pressures.
Okay.
And it's supposed to make it idle better and be smoother.
Right. Okay. Lesson over. Time for tea.
Time for tea.